This is a 1970 AAR Cuda that you will see a lot of on this channel. It's a very special car to our family because our father found this car in 1974 on his first date with our mother. On the way home from the date, he saw this car on the side of the road at a dealership and called our grandfather up at 2 a.m. Dad called our grandfather at 2 a.m. because he was so excited that he found this car. And he just needed to go there the next morning as soon as they opened to get this thing. My dad said that even back then it was hard to find these cars. No internet, of course. There was nothing you could search for except for like newspapers and just driving by them on the side of the road. He said there were only 2,720 of these cars made, something like that. And this is a 4-speed car, which is what he really wanted. And there were only like 1,100 of these made in a 4-speed version. So you can imagine how hard it was. And then it split down by color and options, so that makes them less and less. But he wanted this type of color, like a bright red, like a bright color, and this is the one he chose. So he had, in 1975, he had this car parked in our grandfather's driveway, and another car came down the road, and the guy in there was a group of younger people partying and under the influence, smashed into this frame rail. Smashed right into the side of the front of the car while it was parked and shoved the entire front end over. Here's a picture of the Cuda at the crash scene. It's the only one I could find, and it's probably the only one that's left because my parents had a flood at their house at one time and it damaged a lot of pictures in an album. That's why this picture has damage to it, but you can still see the Cuda's damage pretty good in the picture. It looks like maybe the radiator support or something right there is bent up that shouldn't be, pretty bad. And there's the fiberglass hood, I think. Fiberglass fibers maybe, where it was cracked. There's the fender damaged. Look at the gap between the door and the fender right there. So that's my grandfather's house. That's his front door right there in the background. And he had two driveways, one on this side of the house and one right here where the Cuda's sitting. The Cuda was in this driveway facing the road, which is right here. The car that hit the Cuda was coming up the street this way and smashed into the passenger front fender and spun the car all the way around. That's why it's facing the opposite way it was before the crash. So it was hit pretty hard. Yeah, there's snow on the ground because my dad was getting ready to put the car away for winter, and he was clearing a spot for it in a garage, and so he just left it at my grandfather's house until he could, get it in there and get the space. And that's when the crash happened. They had an early snowfall. It may have actually helped the car. I don't know, maybe it helped it slide around easier, that since the snow was on the ground. Maybe it didn't damage as much as it could have. I don't know that, but it definitely damaged enough. You can see some of the damage still left on the car. The insurance company was like, hey, this car is totaled. We are going to, pay you X dollars for the car. As I said, it was really hard to find this car. So my dad said, we need to keep this car. So he asked my grandfather if he would talk to the insurance company because he was fighting with them to keep the car and not total it. And I guess my grandfather obviously talked them into keeping the car and fixing it. The body shop at the time did the best they could with what they had and basically stripped all these, they stripped this fender apron off the car and the entire front radiator support, which is what this is over here. This is a radiator support. And, put new ones on. So they took apart the old pieces that were crinkled too much, like this apron, radiator support, some other small pieces, all the fender and the fenders, the outside structure pieces, except for like the hood was still savable. It's a fiberglass hood on these cars, so they're pretty hard to find and probably expensive to buy back then. So the insurance company, in order to cut down on costs, the body shop probably told the insurance company, hey, we can save the hood. There's one less thing you have to do and pay for. So what's supposed to be right here is the removal of the front driver's side frame rail and inner fender apron. And I'm an amateur, so I lost that. So sorry about that. I'll give you like a little footage that the highlight reel of what we did next. We'll do the whole car from now on and try to not lose any footage. But that's what happens sometimes. So anyway, this is the highlight reel. Okay, here we are today, sandblasting. Today is sandblasting. Hey guys, welcome back. Here's a friend of mine's Hellcat. He dropped off. We're gonna do some work to that in a different video. We've got trucks and cars and stuff everywhere. Today we're gonna work on the Cuda, and we are gonna pick up where we left off after sandblasting. We didn't get this pillar piece in yet, but we're gonna do that today. So we've covered this bare metal that we had with copper weld, weld through primer. So we're going to attempt to put this piece in finally. We hope we have the joint lined up good. We're going to weld it in. The weld through primer protects the bare metal between the welds and between layers of metal, like up in here. It works really good, they say, and you can weld right to it. That's the point of it. So you don't have to grind down and get bare metal. It's ready to go. Hey guys, we're back. We're gonna work on the Cuda again today. Done with the Hellcat for now. I'll show you inside the garage. We have some stuff to move. This is the Red Express truck. We're gonna do some work on that soon. I'm gonna have some time coming up soon to be able to do work on that. There's the Hellcat with the fresh clutch, and here's the Cuda. We're gonna try to work on the cap right up here, this cowl piece tonight, and we've got some plug welds we need to grind down, but everything is coming along nice. So yeah, we're just waiting for my brother to get here and my father. It's kind of neat because my father has owned this car such a long time, as he's going to work on it with us, and my brother and I, so it's a family project. So join us next time and we'll put the cowl cap on the driver's side of the car. I'll try not to lose any more footage. But anyways, yeah, I think this is a cool car because I think you guys will like it because it's got a neat story behind it. My dad's owned it so long, 1974. Accident happened in 1975. My grandpa had to talk the insurance company back into keeping the car. They wanted to total it, and that, you know, that happened. And then there were my parents, when we were growing up, when we were little kids, my brother and I, they didn't have a lot of money, so my dad tried to sell the car one time, and my mom said somebody came by and offered a really low price for the car, and she said, "No way, put that back in the barn. We're not going to get rid of that car. We'll make it somehow without getting rid of the car." So she saved it that time, and you know, so it's time to get this car running. My dad hasn't had it on the road since 1993. I remember riding in when my mom would take us to the grocery store. Yeah, she'd shift that pistol grip 4-speed. It was pretty neat. The neighbor kids, she would babysit the neighbor kids, and they would ride with us, I remember. And my brother was with us. We were little kids. I have a lot of memories riding in that car. My dad used to take it out once in a while and hammer on it. And I just remember it was like so much fun, and we need to start making some more memories again and get this car going. So that's our plan. I hope you like it. Until next time. So yeah, and earlier in the video, and So we're trying to make it right, and so join us next time for the rest of the driver's side cowl cap installation. I just thought you might like to see this, know this. I just thought you might like this car because of the story behind it. This car, you know, it survived through it's had like 9 lives. It's like a cat. This car is like a cat. It has 9 lives, I think.